Hi, Meredith DeVita with KNOXX Video, and today we're here with Gilbert Melendez. Gilbert, how are you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Meredith?
I'm doing pretty good. So we have a fight coming up with Kawajiri on April 9th in San Diego, and this is going to be a rematch. The first time you fought in Japan and you won by unanimous decision. Were you concerned that he might not be able to make the fight just because of everything that's going on in Japan?
Yeah. Initially, I was watching the news, and I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible, and that's in Japan, and then 10 seconds later, I'm like, oh man, Kawajiri, I wonder if he's going to be able to come here and fight. So I made some calls immediately, honestly, and obviously it's small potatoes compared to what's really going out there, but for me, it's huge. So I called and made some calls, and everything seemed to be all right. It was like 3 hours away from him. I think they said he had some family in the area, but he's pretty happy, and nothing really affected him too much. But you don't wish that upon any of your opponents or anything like that. So I was actually pretty concerned about that. I was, but I talked to Mike Kogan and the rest of the Strikeforce crew, and they reassured me that he'd be here.
Good. Now, who have you been training with to get you prepared for the fight?
Just my team, man. I got a great team. They've helped me get prepared all these years for all my fights. I have certain guys that are wrestlers that are his size and that are strong, and that try to replicate him. But when you get to this high level, it's kind of hard to have a certain fighter replicate like another top level fighter. You might find a guy who's as good as wrestler but not as good as stand up, or good as stand up but not as good as wrestler or jiu-jitsu. So I bring on all kinds of guys, but a lot of great wrestlers have been coming through from Cali. I get a lot of Cali guys that back me up with that, and a lot of different guys and different looks to spar with. So it's been really great. I got my team. I got Nick, Nate, Jake, I got Daniel Roberts, and I got my scrap pack here in Frisco, and a bunch of other dudes that just been around for a while.
Okay, now speaking of Nate, he's going to be fighting April 9th, Paul Daley. How do you see that fight going?
Yeah, Nick will be fighting Paul Daley April 9th, and I think it's going to be an amazing fight. You know what I mean? They're both tough dudes. Everyone's like, I don't know if Nick should stand in the pocket with them. I'm like, that's just what Nick does. And he likes to test himself, and I think it's going to be a good fight with him and Daley. But I see him getting the W, man. That guy, he knows how to take a punch. He knows how to win. He doesn't like to lose. He fights tough, and I've seen Daley tap. I've seen him lose, and I've seen him lose as cool. And I think you never see that in Nick. So I respect Daley. I think he's an amazing fighter, and I think it's going to be a really exciting fight.
Now, were you surprised when you had found out that Scott Coker had sold Strikeforce to UFC, and what was your reaction when you had found out?
Man, I woke up that morning laughing. Actually, it was actually kind of hilarious to me. I don't know how it benefited everyone else, but personally for myself, business standpoint, it actually did benefit me, because I just re-signed with Strikeforce, and if I didn't re-sign with Strikeforce, obviously I'd be going to the UFC or doing that. But there was a lot of debating and negotiations going on, and and I re-signed with Strikeforce. But staying with Strikeforce, you kind of you're not going to have the same marketing machine of the UFC, and you're not going to be able to brand yourself like you can in the UFC. And I took all that stuff into account, and Strikeforce made up with that with the dollar amount, and so I did that. I was slightly bummed, but very happy, and happy to be a part of Strikeforce. Great show. Then I woke up one morning and I was like, sweet, it worked out perfectly, and and there was a lot of things going through my head, like I don't know what I was gonna do, and and now it seems like I might be fighting for a UFC title, sooner than I thought.
Now, Dana White said that he's going to keep Strikeforce and UFC separate entities for now. But when you had found out, who did you think about fighting? Someone like Frankie Edgar, or who did you?
Oh man, out the gate. I mean, I'm in it to win it. I want to be the number one fighter in the world. I'm trying to prove that. So I mean, whoever has the strap is who I'd like to fight. And I want to earn that. So I just want to keep on winning, and I see that title possibly changing a couple times. I mean, Gray could be the champ by the end of the I don't know when they're fighting the next 2 months. After that, Gray might lose to someone else like Clay Guida or Anthony Pettis. So I mean, I see that title changing a lot. So whoever has the belt is basically who I want, and whoever's gonna help me prove I'm number one, basically. And and now I think it's gonna happen.